Hi, everybody. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Spotlight On with this fabulous lady, Alison Sweeney. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Why, hello, all of you Days of Our Lives fans. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV's Spotlight On, when we have soap legend in the house, Miss Alison Sweeney.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought they were talking
about me.
I thought you too. That's so funny.
Until I said Alison Sweeney, and then it got all thrown out.
Yeah, they were like,
yeah.
Oh, right.
Alison.
Well, in case you guys have forgotten, I am your host, Tony Moore, and I am joined by my wonderful co-hosts, starting with my far left, we have...
Hi, Mark J. Freeman here.
And of course, sitting next to Mark, we have...
Alison Sweeney. I introduced myself. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm Alison Sweeney.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, there should be a time where someone introduces you and then to, you know, humanize you, you know, to make you stay grounded and humble.
Make sure I remember my own name.
Yeah, and to make sure of that in case you forgot. You know, and in case they forgot.
Well, right.
Yeah, so
perfect. It worked out great.
It was perfect. Yeah, look.
Check both those boxes.
Hands.
So yeah, done.
And last but not least,
we have the remarkable and so talented,
devastatingly good-looking.
They do this every time, just so you know.
Right, I can tell.
Every time.
Well, you know, you have to make people feel good. You know,
well, it's
not me though. I have to be made to feel humble.
Yeah.
You're the legend, and I'm devastatingly good-looking. So
I feel like we should just start all over. And
Too late. It's live.
It's already live. We're going. We're going.
It's going great.
And I didn't even say anything about myself except that I'm Tony Moore. But you guys,
We all know.
They all know who you are.
Enough said.
They know. Yeah. Enough said.
All of the above.
I love that. So thank you so much, Allison, for coming in.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
I'm applauding again.
We are uber excited.
Yes.
I will say, and I'll confess this to my co-host, because I'm usually like the chill one, like the one who doesn't get bothered.
It's not true.
That's
not true.
I'm just kind of like, huh. But today I was so giddy. I was like, oh my gosh, Alison Sweeney's coming in today. Like, what am I gonna do?
What am I gonna wear? It was a big production.
Oh, there was a production on what to wear. I was like, oh my god, have I worn this shirt before? I was like, what would Sami wear? Like, how would she look today? And so I settled on this.
Oh, great! And you look great.
Thank you.
And how did I do for what will Sami wear?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing as always.
Thank you.
Just stunning.
I have to say though, when Matt picked me up, as soon as I got in the car, he was like, you know, I wasn't nervous until now. I don't know why I brought that out of him, but they're both,
See,
you're bringing out the best in all of us.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and again, usually I'm the one that's just like, hi, they're here, whatever. But today I'm like,
hey, what's up?
No pressure, Allison.
I know.
At all.
none at all.
Like,
but
I let everyone down.
I think it's because, you know, watching you on Days, I feel like Sami's like my spirit animal.
Aww.
You know, I feel like the character, besides Stefano, because I really wanted to play like a villain and like be his son, but you know, you guys know that already. But like, if I could be friends with anyone in Salem, it would be Sami, and I would totally like help out with your plans and schemes and all that.
She always needed that. She never had someone who was like super on board. Like, I got your back, girl. Like, I'm with you.
And I totally would have been that person.
There's a lot of judgy people there, and you wouldn't have judged her.
Sami was a little hard to get to know, though. A little bit, correct?
A little. I mean, ish. If you go that way, if you're all.
I mean, I knew her.
A big Carrie and Austin fan, like then maybe you weren't like.
I was, but I loved that you destroyed them. Yeah. I mean, I still don't forgive you.
No, right.
But it was such good storyline.
But like that. I still think about how that was, and in fact, I'm a huge Outlander fan. I don't know if like people follow me on Twitter, they know I'm like obsessed with that show. And there's a main character who is, you know, as if you've read the books, like determined to come between Jamie and Claire, and I was like, oh my god, this is how people felt about me. Or like, and I want to like tear her hair out. I'm like, get off my screen, I can't. And I'm like, oh my god, that's I'm her. She's me. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Before becoming a co-host on Dishin Days, my status update on Facebook, maybe over a year ago, was I still don't forgive Sami for breaking up Carrie and Austin.
That's amazing. I love that.
I harbor resentment toward her. I love them. Yeah.
Well, let's travel.
Which Austin can we? Is that
Muldoon?
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's no other.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Always a fan.
Austin
Peck
was my Austin when I started watching Days.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So
I'm with you, Patrick Muldoon.
Who was your favorite?
Well,
Austin?
No pressure.
I know. No, they were just so different. Like, I knew Patrick when I was very young. I started when I was 16, and so Patrick was like, you know, Austin, right? And I was a fan of the show. I don't know, you probably know that, but I was a fan of the show, and I watched before I got the job. And in fact, when I got the audition, I was beside myself. I could not believe this was happening to me, and I had such a crush on Patrick. And
me too.
The whole so the whole experience of just going there, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is the best day ever.
Yeah.
And then I got the job, and you know, I mean, you know, there were like stars bursting, like dreams come true. I couldn't believe it was happening. And then, you know, I got to know him, and he's an awesome guy. But you know, he was such like my first crush. I blushed. In fact, the director told me I got the job because I blushed like the color of your shirt when I met him on set in front of the producers. And yeah, so then we got to work together for a while, and it was sort of a tough transition to Austin Peck. And he's such a great guy, and he was so great in the role, and it worked out so well. And we knew Austin actually much longer than we worked with Patrick.
Yeah.
So it became, you know, an amazing whole dynamic there, but it was definitely, you know, very different. For me, it was almost like two different characters.
Yeah. For
the viewer also.
Right.
Yeah. Watching Austin Peck take over was difficult for me.
Yeah.
I was heartbroken.
They should have just called. I mean, like, I understand why they don't do it, but you almost wish it could just be a different character. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Do it. But anyway.
Yep.
Do you remember your first day on set?
Yes.
You?
Wow.
Yes.
Let's describe it for us, because I always love hearing like the first day of like set and how it was for you. Especially
imagine what you were wearing on January 6th, 1993.
Yes, I actually remember.
I was probably wearing Gap jeans that were like, you know, acid washed, and like a tucked in Gap t-shirt, like all the way really high on my rib cage. And my hair was like Jan Brady length, all the way down to my hips. And then I remember that I got to meet all the actors, and I was in the makeup room, like trying to be cool, just be cool.
Yeah.
And I met Matthew Ashford, and I was like, his name is Matthew, like, don't call him Jack, don't call him Jack, like a crazy person in my head. And I totally then did the like exactly what you're not trying to do. I was like, I'm Jack. I mean, I totally know your name is Matthew. I was just being cool. And so I met him right away. That was like the first big moment for me. And then my first scene was with, you know, I got my hair, makeup done. I'm not telling this story well, sorry. And it takes a long time, especially back then. Like, they did a lot of hair and makeup, and all my hair, they had to blow it out. It took a whole big thing. And then I go into practice my scene, and I didn't have any dialogue the first day. I was just hiding in the bushes.
We remember.
But I got my hair and makeup done, but I was not on camera.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I spent like 90 minutes, and I was, by the way, 16. I mean, I had pretty good skin. Like, I'm not really sure what they were, you know, covering. But boy, there's a lot of it. And then I didn't say anything, and I was not on camera, and it was like a close up of my hand, you know, like touching a doorknob, and like my feet like tiptoeing through some fake leaves on a fake ground. And then, like, you know, and I did that for 3 days. And then my first line of dialogue was pulling a bobby pin out of my hair and unlocking the front door, which obviously people know you can do. Right? Just a little tip there for anyone who's trying to break into a house. And I busted open the door, and then fabulous, my dream dad, Wayne Northrup, comes busting in with a gun. Stop or I'll shoot. And I said, Daddy, don't shoot me. That was my first line.
Yay!
Have
you ever gone on YouTube? Because I did this, and I watched that scene. Have you ever gone back just to watch it?
I have seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like what were the circumstances, but I can picture it in my head, and I know I've seen it since then. Yeah. But if you go on YouTube, I mean, boy, you can get lost in the rabbit hole of like the amazing clips people have. There was a clip on YouTube of when I was on the show, my real first day in the 80s, when I was like a little kid, and I played young Adrian in a flashback, which I also remember pretty well.
Wow.
But I played young Adrian in a flashback. She had a storyline when she was dating Adrian, and Wally's character was don't tell me, oh, Justin. Big ruiner.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Right. Anyway, so they had a relationship that, you know, whatever, sweet 80s love, developing, super couple. And she just sort of had these flashbacks to when her father would abuse her. And that was like the big reveal. And so I was her in a flashback.
That's crazy.
That was on my resume for years, young Adrian, Days for Our Lives.
It's not there any longer.
Yeah, I got bumped down. But it was a big deal.
got the part, did you have any idea the scope of how big Sami Brady was going to be?
I had no idea. When I got the job, I was I was a junior in high school, and I remember thinking and having this whole talk with my parents, because my dad and my mom too were really committed to my education and finishing high school. And in fact, I was supposed to quit acting to concentrate on my studies in high school. And so my agent had suggested, like, just go on a couple auditions. You don't have to do the commercial work anymore. Like, what if we just did a few here and there? Okay, great. So I went on one more audition for Days of Our Lives.
Oh, wow.
And I got the job, and I remember, like, my first contract was something like a half-a-day commitment a week. And we thought that was like the minimum. That's the guarantee, they call it. And I remember thinking, like, great, yeah, a half a day, like here and there. Like the kids, they trot the kids out at holidays, you know? And like maybe they have a summer store. And I totally sold my dad on this, like, for sure. Because I watched the show and I was like, I know how often the kids come out, like never. And I convinced him of it. And the next thing you know, I worked almost every day for 22 years. You know, I mean, I worked a lot, and it became the snowball. And I remember when I first started, you know, she was Marlena's sweet daughter, and we did this whole fashion like makeover day together. And I kept thinking for like a month, I thought to myself, like, oh, I wish I had played a villain. Like, I would love to play a villain on the show. And then it just turned.
Be careful what you ask for.
Boy.
Do you still watch now?
I haven't had a chance to watch a lot. Okay. No, I watched a couple days that my friends commented to me, were like, oh, you got to check out this day. And Missy Reeves did a beautiful day recently to do with, she's phenomenal. And Christian had one similar.
Yes.
So, so days like that, I make sure to watch.
And speaking of those days, like, I think you and James Scott kind of catapulted episodes like that, because with the whole, like, dream sequence with
that was the first time they tried that on our show anyway.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, I enjoy those episodes, because I feel like instead of the storylines taking forever to, like, get to this certain point with the character, it's kind of like, we're going to explain it all in this episode, and then we're going to move on. Yeah. And so, and I was, when I watched that scene with you and James Scott, I was so into it. I was like, oh my God, Sami is being Sami. Like, you are totally exposed. You're out. And then when he woke up from that dream, I was like, are you serious?
Yeah. We worked so hard to keep that a secret. Yeah. That was a really big, like, surprise that, you know, we didn't want to get blown ahead of time. And that was the hardest thing I've ever done, that episode, because you really don't have that much more time than if it was a 2 or 3 page scene. Right. It's still, you know, 2 people in a scene, in 6 scenes together, and they expect that to take 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So they gave us like an hour and a half, and you're like, wait, but that's really hard. And so we did a lot of rehearsals for that, and a lot of extra prep went into it, and we busted our butts to make
and
that
you can tell
work.
I applaud you guys for that. That was an amazing episode, and I was just like, oh my God, like, that once again, don't get in front of Sami, because she is gonna
absolutely not, if you value your life at all.
I say,
she's a steamroller.
I remember when, just recently, when you came back for the, we can get into this if we want, because I'm still a little better about Will. But when you came back in that first scene, when you walk into the police station, I literally, when we came to do the show, I was like, okay, Sami didn't say anything, and I'm really worried. Because just with the look on your face, you were like, oh, get out of her way. You just knew that it was going to go somewhere. But I know that you were vocal about the whole Will storyline and everything.
So a couple things I want to say about it. Walking in that scene, because I really hadn't worked at the police station for years. I don't think they had that set up for a while.
Sami not at the police station?
Well, because they didn't have the set, that actual set.
Right, so she interacted with the police quite frequently, but like they didn't have that particular setup for I feel like 3 or 4 or 5 years maybe even at the end of my run there. And so walking back into that set with Dee and Drake and Brian, like, it was a really emotional. That was a really an emotional day for me, and in fact, I totally had chills, and it was really special to be back.
And I know, just like you and even fans of fans and us, we had a really hard time accepting the death of Will. And we know that you've been vocal about. We've definitely been vocal about it. But I think for me, that moment when it was happening, it was, you know, all the other killings were like, oh my God, oh, so sad, boo boo. But with him, it was just kind of like, oh my God. It was like the biggest like gut wrencher.
Yeah.
When you found out, and we've heard in other interviews how you felt, but you know, how did you feel reading that and having to go back for that?
So I was really upset when I found out, and I oddly had, and I think, you know, it's hard not to feel like your character is a part of you. So when they killed off Will, I was so pissed off. Like, I can't even describe for you how, I mean, the crazy secret rantings that I had in my own head when, like, I held the phone away, like trying to be cool, be normal. Like, I needed to pull myself together because I had a very visceral reaction to it, and like a personal one, as if it was, you know, he was my kid in real life, and you know, then I sort of had to come to terms with it. But like, the truth is, I don't agree with the decision. I don't think it was a smart one. I don't understand why they did it, and I mean, he's a linchpin character on the show. The little Will kids, Sean Taylor Carpenter, like, I can picture, like, everyone, the crew was crying. Yeah. We've grown up with this character. He was on the set. He was never sent off. I mean, he was sent off to, like, wherever Carrie and Austin were living, like, Africa or something, for, like, 2 weeks. Yeah. But he was back, like, he was on our screens and a part of our storyline my entire career. Almost. So he came around in, what, 94 maybe? So like 19 of my 22 years, and I just didn't understand it. I still, obviously, clearly I'm getting worked up. I still don't. But then, you know, agreeing to do it, I had to get on board and, like, you know, I'm gonna give this character justice and do the best I can in this story. In the storyline, and commit to it, and do it as honestly as I can.
Is that something that you can be vocal about at all? If they make a decision that you can say, is there any way that we can work around this, or that you can change the direction that you're planning on going to the writers? Are they not open to suggestions?
Well, I told them what I thought. I don't know how well that went. Like, he's still dead, so.
Right. Well, just so you know, we've all kind of come up with an option to bring him back. Oh. Because
this is where we come in as writers.
Let's talk about this, because certainly I've thought of it, and then someone approached me at the beginning of the year at the Hallmark party and said to me, like, a reporter said, like, what would you say if they invited Chandler to come back? And I literally was like, gasped. Like, is that happening? Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
But what would you buy?
Well, like, here's what we were thinking. Okay, tell me. When you guys leave to go to California, ever since he came back to Salem after that, he was different. So we think it was a different person.
But he cheated on Sonny before he went to Cal, right? Didn't they, like, add some ridiculous story?
No, that was when he got back.
That was when he got back.
He cheated on him in California, and then came back.
Okay, so we don't know. But, like, for all we know, he's a double. He was a Stefano.
Exactly.
Yeah. But isn't there something that happened before he left that was sort of pretty bad?
I don't think so.
So it all was when he came back.
Yeah. I think most of that bad, we can ask them, because these people will know.
They will know.
Couldn't they make it?
They correct us all the time. But I don't think there was, because it really seemed like it was when he came back from California that all this...
No, right, but when he came back from California, Sonny found out at some point that he had cheated on him before that in their relationship.
Yes.
Oh, in Salem?
I believe so, yeah. No, not in Salem, in California.
No, before California.
Before California.
So oh my gosh, can you answer? Someone tell us. I'm pretty sure.
Daquan, we need your answer. Daquan will know.
Where's Jason 47 when you need it? Seriously.
I feel like they could probably bring Will back if they made the entire Ben thing a figment of Abigail's imagination.
I heard that the other day,
because she's been so crazy for so long.
So now the whole thing, like dream. Everything that's happened, but like with
all of the deaths from the Strangler, or from the necktie killer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Abigail keeps losing her mind and not knowing what's reality and what's...
But do we but would we sign on for that? Like, do we as fans, like, we'll take it just to get Will back?
Yes.
Or, okay.
100%.
Well, I'm like, yes.
I have, as a fan, you guys know how I am, and I'll tell you, Allison, I'm just a fan with open arms, and whatever they give me, I just kind of accept, you know.
Okay.
I just have to be that way.
Okay.
For right now. Until they
I think everybody would be so happy to have him back.
Yes.
That I think they would be willing
But I want Chandler's Will. I want Chandler's
really
Will to come back.
Right.
I like Guy, but I love Chandler.
And you know, we didn't put out, we actually have Chandler's Emmy.
We do.
And we haven't.
What? Did you steal Chandler's Emmy?
He gave it to us voluntarily.
It's on loan for right now because when he came on, he was telling us a story about how he had a Halloween party and he didn't have something to give the winner of the Halloween party, so he gave them the Emmy that he won. And he said, when I get it back, I'll let you guys like borrow it so that you guys can like decorate your desk. And we were like,
but he didn't give away his Emmy at a Halloween party, like permanently.
No, he got it back.
Well, no, he got it back and gave it to us.
I'm like so enraged right now.
I knew you were. I was gonna say it. You're gonna get her mad.
Giving away his Emmy.
No, he left. It was on. So it's still on loan.
Never part with an Emmy.
I know.
Ever.
It's still on loan. So we didn't.
He hasn't asked for it back, and we're not volunteering.
Meanwhile, he's at home and he said, "Where is that Emmy?
Yeah,
Where is
he knows we're taking good care of it.
I don't even know what to say. I can't. I have to move on from that conversation.
She's the mom's coming out.
So, Allison, did you ever think that stepping onto the Days set at 16 that you would be there for 20 plus years?
No, I really didn't. I mean, there's so, like, stuff, you know, I don't know if you know, like, I almost quit to go to college.
Yeah.
There were a couple of times when, you know, it just, there seemed like, oh, you're supposed to do other things or whatever. I don't know, it just never occurred to me that it would have that kind of longevity. I just didn't, I don't know, like, especially at the beginning, I just didn't see it that way. I mean, I watched the show. It's weird. Like, I was a fan of the show, and I always approached the character from that perspective. But no, I just, until it was sort of happening, and I was like, wow, this has been a long time. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. When did you realize it was home?
That's a great question. I think at my wedding, I got married, and
which one?
That's awesome. Dude. Awesome. That's funny. My real wedding.
I think she was talking about her real one.
And I had so many of my friends there, and my family, and Josh Taylor was there, and Brian and Eric. Jensen Ackles was there, and you know, like, it was just felt like family and the crew. Like, it just was so great to celebrate, and I remember like dating Dave while I was working, and some of the camera guys like, I gotta meet this guy, and like uncles, you know, dads, and it just, I don't know, like, the whole thing sort of it just felt like family. And, you know, then I got pregnant and had both my kids while I was working there, and they went through all that experience with me, and I was a particularly oddly, you know, for playing Sammy, I suppose, emotional pregnant woman. And it's just funny to have that in my story, that, like, when I was pregnant, I had scenes where I would be crying, like, completely randomly, and it just was like, yeah, but sometimes Sammy cries, so it works out great for everybody. And then the rage, you know, that happened too.
Another crazy thing that I remember that happened while you were pregnant, because they were trying to hide your pregnancy, and so then they brought on this character of Stan.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I have to say, I think that was like one of my favorite moments, when like it was like, Sammy is Stan, Stan is Sammy, and I was like, I don't know how you guys are going to pull this off, but I thought it was fun.
Did you like it?
I did, actually.
I
liked it. And it was believable, because Dan Wells, well, I mean, not saying that you look like a guy.
It was totally believable.
But it was like, you know, you look at Dan Wells, and it's like, both of you have like very piercing eyes and the blonde hair and everything. And I was like, okay, I mean, I see
I'm on board.
it.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
on board.
like willing to sign up. I like it.
Listen.
Was that when you were pregnant?
Yeah, it's when it's actually not when I was pregnant. It was when I had my son.
Okay.
So the story was to cover my absence while I delivered and took some time off, and then about like 10 days after I had my son, the producers called me and they're like, so when are you coming back? It's like, you know, clean up and all right, I'll take a shower.
I'll be in tomorrow, 9 a.m. 6 a.m. earlier, right?
Oh yeah, they have very early calls.
I wanted to ask you too about the transition from acting to directing the episodes. Like, how did that even come about? Or was that your idea, or did they approach you? Or?
So it was, no, it was, I worked really hard for it. It was one of the reasons when I decided not to go to college and I renewed my contract that year, I had a long talk with the executive producer, and I felt like because I wasn't going on to college, I wanted to, you know, have an opportunity to continue my education on the set. And so we talked about me shadowing the directors. And at that point, I was like, you know, 19, and I started following the directors and learning how to break down a script the way that they do in 4-camera setup. And so I spent years working and learning from them and shadowing them and creating my own sort of like program, you know, director in training program, and then, you know, finally talked them into giving me a chance. And I started off doing talent tests, and then they let me do some segments from episodes, and then I started doing my whole shows and whole days.
Wow. And then how did you get into General, because you did some at General Hospital too?
Yeah, I've done a bunch at General Hospital, and mostly because Frank Valentini's awesome and a super great guy, and he asked me if I would be interested, and he's seen my work, and he wanted to have me come over there and do some work there, and I loved it. I'm obviously friends with a lot of the actors there who are wonderful. Certainly Kirsten and I go way back.
Oh, of course.
Minnie, Belle, and but you know, I've known all of them for so long. We all work together and see each other at different events, and so it was really wonderful to go there and feel so welcomed by such a great cast. And then, but funny because I'm so familiar with the Days of Our Lives sets. I'm so familiar with Salem, and so I walked into, and I watched General Hospital a lot, certainly over the years, and then more when I was prepping for this. But like, I didn't know how to get from my car in the parking lot like to the set. Like I was like, I literally, and I got there super early so that I wouldn't have to ask for help because
that building is confusing to get into.
But I was basically like looking around, like trying to find my way. There was elevators. I'm like, I don't understand the elevator.
Long hallways.
Totally get it.
Totally.
Because at Days, it's just like you get there, you park, you walk in, and it's just a hallway, and everything is like along the way.
Yeah, it's all right there.
Yeah. General Hospital, you gotta go up, you down, and I get confused. I just drew myself a map.
Oh.
You know, just in case. You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
I feel like, what are you planning? That you need like an emergency quick map to get you out?
You know, you just have to. You just have to be ready. You just have to be ready. You know, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Truer words. What was a bumper sticker? That's amazing.
You can't take that and put it in your pocket.
What was your favorite storyline to be a part of on Days of Our Lives?
Gosh, 20 years of choices.
Oh my God, there's so many.
There are so many. I don't. The answer that I normally give, because I thought it was just really well told from beginning to end, was the Sidnapping storyline. I thought from the moment, you know, Sami saw, I guess, I don't even remember how she and EJ, wait, what happened before that? But I remember from the moment she saw EJ with Nicole that day, and like the mayor's dead body or whatever was on the front steps, and she goes into hiding, and then there's Rafe, and she meets Rafe, and they, you know, the safe house, and and then they come back, and then, you know, Nicole swaps out the babies, and then, you know, it led to that terrible, painful but beautiful, you know, death of baby Grace, and then carrying it on to then finally, like, and then EJ steals the baby, and then there's those fabulous scenes about Cleveland, and then and then it all sums up with Nicole getting slapped twice, which was one of my favorite scenes. So that whole arc, I mean, I think it took like 2 years, and I just summed it up in like 10 seconds. But nevertheless, you know the story. But I loved that particular chunk of time. I thought that was great.
Those slaps were heard across Salem for and we still hear them.
Yeah,
actually. That was such a moment.
And when Carrie slapped you too, that's probably one of my most memorable Sami moments.
At the wedding? Yeah, of course.
That's probably still one of the...
all of Sami and Carrie's drag-out fights were always very entertaining for me.
I'm trying to remember the circumstances, but there's one in particular that I remember involving birthday cake, and I'm pretty sure we were like on the floor wrestling around with cake. I have a picture of I have a picture of Christy and Brian Datillo and I afterwards, like all covered in cake. That was in the makeup room for many years. So I loved that.
I watched that scene too on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of great scenes.
You get caught up. Let me tell you, don't search yourself on YouTube. You know why? Because when they have like the suggestions, you just click, and you just keep clicking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then hours go by.
I feel like my favorite, the one that people say they see all the time is, oh, sorry, I was too far away from the mic, was the Ellen when she pushed me playing Jenga. Like, that's the first thing I see when I search me on YouTube.
Yeah. Was it difficult for you to finally make the decision to leave Days?
Yeah. I mean, you asked me when they became my family, but then they were for a decade and 2 decades, and to decide to leave was really, really difficult and emotional, and then I kind of came to terms with it, and you know, talked to my husband about it at length, and we finally decided to do that, and then I sort of came to terms with it and was okay for a while, and then the last week maybe last couple weeks, I started like taking a lot of pictures on my phone with everybody, and people get like mad and sad at me, like they knew that I was taking this, like why I wanted these pictures, and it started to, I was like really, it was awkward and sad, and then I was like a total basket case at the end. Like the whole last week was really hard.
And so they brought Sami back for the 50th, and now she's off to find out about EJ's money in Sweden.
I don't really know. I thought she was finding EJ. That was.
Is that what
I think she's
she
going
was
to find
alive?
EJ.
Yeah, she's going to find EJ.
Yeah.
Any idea when we're going to see Sami again?
No, I don't.
If they called you to come direct an episode, would you?
Yeah.
Cool. I think you should.
But for some reason, this is how I picture, things happening over there. Picture it. 2016.
I can just guarantee you, however you picture it, that's
not how it is,
it's
right?
happening.
No,
But carry on. I want to hear it.
I just mean like
not
if you ever decide to like go back, I just picture you sitting at your house and just going, okay, and just like picking up the phone and saying, I'm ready, and they just like do it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like because you're Alison Sweeney, like that can just happen, but like on your terms, like you can just sit there and go,
I'm ready.
and not even your phone. There's
Can
like
I have like a red phone, like a backpack of some kind?
There's
it's
a
like
separate,
an open line. It's just waiting.
You mean
It's a
you don't
separate
already have a
days
red phone?
Yeah, and it's totally like it's hidden too. Like you have to like
there's a
do like a
code.
book, and it
break
swivels
glass?
around.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, emergency
all
break
that.
glass.
And then
I
there's
like
a glass that you have to do like a thumbprint, and
Oh,
it's like
totally.
and it's like
getting
all
dramatic.
These, yeah.
I'm so into that. That's awesome. That would be the reason to make the call, just for that whole
Just for that.
build up. Yeah.
Just know when like the person who's standing next to the phone will be me. You'll go through all that, and I'll go. Make that call, Allison.
Make that call.
Allison, tell us a behind-the-scenes secret that fans wouldn't know.
Ooh. I will warn you, Matthew's tough with the questions.
Yeah, you're good at questions. I want to answer it well. I want to give you a good one. Like behind the scenes at the show. I don't have, like, people hang out and we all have a lot of fun, and there's always like ridiculous. Here's one, and this is terrible. Like, don't be mad, Brian. But, I don't think this is a reason to be mad, but like in every possible hiding place on every set in Salem, there is like Brian DiTillo's scripts somewhere, and he always loses them or forgets them. So like for years, for decades, we would stand together at the downstage of the set, 50-50, looking at each other, and if either of us couldn't remember our line, you could always just open the drawer in the cabinet that's handily placed, right there in the center, and you open it, and there's the script that we're working on. Only beneath it are like the 37 scripts that we've been working on like for the past 2 weeks below it, and then in the other like in a potted plant is the script, or behind the pillowcase on the thing is another script, and underneath the bed is another script, or in the nightstand. Like there's scripts everywhere, like just hidden in various things, and then you walk away and you forget, or the worst is when it's like halfway through your day and you lost it, and then you have to go back through all your sets where you were and like look in everything, and you're like, no, that was from last week, no, that's from Tuesday, I don't know. So yeah, there's
Script hiding.
script hiding, everywhere.
I had heard that from actually Kirsten. Told me that a long time ago.
Yeah.
So post days, I mean, you have been so busy with all of the things that you do, writing and directing and hosting.
The Arm & Hammer spin brush.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Truly radiant.
Yes.
Truly radiant.
I love seeing you, and you look great in person.
You look truly radiant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, doing, like, it makes me want to, like, work out and, like, ride a bike and all that kind of stuff that you do in the commercials, because I'm like, if I can look like Alison Sweeney, I'm definitely going to use that.
Thank you.
I mean, it's going to be a stretch for
Blonde,
me, but however.
blue eyes.
I can see
Whatever,
it.
you see
That's
it.
how it
You
happens.
see it,
That's
yeah.
right.
When you, and we all know that you hosted Biggest Loser, and we know that fitness is, a part of you, and you're an advocate for that. What was it like stepping into like a hosting position? Because I mean, it's far different. from
Totally
acting,
different.
But stepping into like a hosting position, how was that for you?
Well, it was a really interesting experience because oddly, there were some similarities in that I found myself in a lot of situations where people were crying, and it was really weird for it not to be me.
Yeah.
That was hard to get used to. But as an actor, you're always sort of in the moment, like you're engaging with the other person in that dynamic, and you're a part of it. And when you're the host, it's really your job to sort of draw people out, but it's not my story, right? So I'm supposed to be a little bit removed from it. And I started off really determined to try to be that person, and then over the seasons, people would totally call me out, like, I saw you crying, and you're totally but it's true. And I got more familiar with the contestants, and just got to know them, and their stories were so moving and meaningful and inspiring to me. And so I just found, and I feel like I'm like everybody else, you know, you're just always sort of looking for like, what am I doing wrong, or what's the nutrition tip that's going to make a difference for me. And the more I spent like really studying it and learning about nutrition and wellness, was that it is this sort of overall journey. It's not a sprint, it's not a race, it's not a fad diet. It's about making healthy choices as you go, sort of along the way, every day, sort of committing to yourself, I want to be healthy, and I want to be the best me I can be, and I want to be fit to play with my kids outside. And that's the one that for me I feel really resounds for me, is that I have 2 really active kids, and I want to demonstrate to them active a lifestyle, and I want to be able to be with them and do those things. So if we're going on a hike, I want to lead the charge. I want to be able to pick up my daughter and carry her when her legs are wear out. You know, I want to be I want to be a cool mom that my son grows up and says, like, women are cool, and I want my daughter to grow up thinking she can be that, and strong. And so those are all my goals, and eating healthy towards that and teaching them healthy habits towards that is really important to me.
Well, you said something in an interview that I was watching that really I actually jotted it down, because I was like, because I'm trying to create a vision board for myself, because I have my own weight issues. But you said something, and I was like, I think I'm going to put that on my board. You said, don't look at nutrition as a punishment. And that really resonated for me, because I think I do that to myself. I feel like if I can have the pizza and the burger and the fries, that's great. But then I go, oh, now I have to eat this, but I have to stop looking at it that way.
I don't want to eat that grilled chicken.
Right, and I think people also look at nutrition like healthy food it has to be bland or boring, and it can't be something that you enjoy. I know this sounds crazy, and my son and I make this kale salad that couldn't be better for you, and it's my favorite thing. I literally start to crave it some days. Like, I absolutely love it. So if you stop looking at nutrition like a punishment, if you stop looking at it like, I don't like, oh, I wish I could have that, and instead I'm going to force myself to do this.
See, that's what I do.
That's really you're just setting yourself up to fail. I mean, I don't mean all eyes on me.
No, it's okay.
We're going to have this talk.
That's why I took this job, because my waist is below the table.
But like, you have to stop thinking about that that way. You have to start thinking about it like, finding things that you actually like to eat that are good for you, finding things that you like to do that get your body moving.
Not too long ago, I did sit down one day and I was like, there are so many good things that I do like. I'm going to make a list. And I started writing down things I liked, and then I'm just not a gym person. I just don't want to be inside. So I did the same thing. I was like, what can I do physically that I enjoy doing? And I was like, I played tennis growing up, and then I got back into tennis. I started working at the pro shop and playing more and stuff like that. So I agree with that 100%. I just have to keep myself on that track. And
keep yourself thinking positive. Like, it's all for the fun and the good stuff that I can enjoy doing, instead of looking at it like a reward punishment scenario in which, inevitably, like, I don't deserve that or whatever. You have to look at it like, I deserve to be fit and healthy and happy, and I mean, I'm all for a glass of wine at night. Like, believe me, there's no strict policy. That's the other thing, is like, thank goodness I'm not like a trainer or an expert, because I'm all like, someone make cookies, like, I'm pretty sure I would hurt their feelings if I didn't have one.
Well, I normally
but the 6 is where you draw the line. That's why. And by the way, I'm also like, yesterday I was like, I had this ridiculous healthy eating habit lately. And so I saw a delicious looking cookie, and I was like, gosh, I really want that. And so I got it for myself, because you know why? I can. I'm in charge of me, and that's I wanted to do. I took one bite, and I was like, this is disgusting. And I was like, no. And when no one was looking, I threw it away. Because like, why waste calories? That's the other big lesson that I've learned from my kids, actually, is like, is that if you don't like it, why are you eating it? Don't put things in your mouth that you're not enjoying. You're not taste it. Delicious. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
I usually enjoy everything I eat.
Good for you.
Even the bad stuff.
Speaking of baked goods,
Oh,
See what I did there? Yes. Tell us all about Murder, She Baked. This is like the part that I'm really
is the
excited.
next one.
Sunday night
Sunday
is the premiere of the 4th movie of Murder, She Baked. It's called A Deadly Recipe. And I have such a good time with this role. I have such a great time working with everyone on the Murder, She Baked cast. They're awesome and funny and fun to be around. And I've done it for this particular movie. I'd love for you, I don't know if you have them or have seen them, but I did a ton of behind the scenes. I produced a bunch of behind the scenes segments.
Oh, so for this? Yeah, they were on your Facebook.
Yeah.
I did watch some of them.
Because I personally love behind the scenes footage. I love outtakes.
Oh, yeah.
And I love sharing them with people, and the guys that we work with, in particular Cameron Matheson and Gabe Hogan, who plays Norman, are so funny, and so it was just really fun to share that with the fans.
I had the opportunity to work with Cameron Matheson when he was on Dancing with the Stars several years ago, and I stick by this. He is one of the nicest human beings I have ever met, and extremely funny.
Yeah.
Love him.
He's very funny and so nice and not hard to look at.
No.
Also,
Ugly. He's just ugly.
We broke news
too bad,
here.
isn't it, for him? Poor guy.
Unfortunate.
So
His
sad.
eyes also not piercing. No, can't look at him.
Right.
Tell us how
I have
Murder,
a
She
funny
Baked.
scene. Sorry, but I have a funny scene in the movie on Sunday night,
Okay.
8 Central on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries. But my character Hannah gets caught in a moment and like looking up into Mike's eyes, and I was like, oh, that's a really hard scene for me to act out. I wonder how that will go. You know, I was like, oh right.
And he's out of shape. Just totally needs to work out.
I'll have a talk with him.
Yeah. He's also a very health conscious guy, actually. Sometimes I'm at the cart, the meal van with him, and I'm like, okay, I'll just have like vegetables, and he's piling up his plate with like broccoli or whatever. I'm like, okay.
As you throw that cookie away.
I need to hang out with more of these kind of people.
Right.
Now, they do all the Murder, She Baked in Canada.
Yes.
Is that right?
We're shooting them in Vancouver,
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
It's beautiful. It's a great place to be. I'm from Los Angeles, so many times I'm like, wait, there's water falling from the sky.
You totally forget, right?
What is this?
I totally forget.
What goes on here?
Yeah.
And then it really rains, like for real rain.
Not our
Once
LA
again,
rain.
something we don't experience here. And so that part was really strange. And then the first one we did in last year, it was hilarious. They were like, oh, it's such a mild winter. I'm like, no, it's not. I don't know what you're talking about. It's freezing cold, and you saying it's mild is not making it mild.
I'm actually upset that you're saying it's mild.
Right. You're making it worse, just so you know. You're upsetting me. But anyway, no, that's an amazing crew, an amazing cast, wonderful people. The people in Vancouver are lovely to be around, and it's been great.
And you're already on the 4th, so you're cranking them out. How did Murder, She Baked get started?
They approached me, they being Hallmark, and asked me if I'd be interested in being a part of this fun series. And I had already been in development with them on another movie that I produced and did last year called Love on the Air, which was super fun. And
highest rated.
a
was it
romantic
not?
comedy. Yes.
Did my reason.
Oh yeah. And then
she's not gonna say it, so I will.
but I hope people tune in and liked it, because I'm developing and producing another one for the Hallmark Channel that'll be out this September, and I'm really proud of that. So, and that's really, what my career has turned into, that I'm so excited about, is I'm starting to really develop content for myself and produce my own movies and be a part of like making it happen and then starring in it, and then I go home and hang out with my kids and lay low for a while, and then I do another one.
What don't you do?
Yeah.
Busy.
Well, I think, this is just an idea for one of the series for Murder, She Baked. I'm just going to just throw it out there. Maybe like Murder, She Baked, a peach cobbler pinch, about 3 men who host a podcast and one of them goes missing.
This one.
I have a feeling I'm the one who's missing.
But one of them does have to be murdered.
It can't be me. Don't make it be me. Not it.
Not it.
Oh well.
So then,
The movie will be about me then. That's okay.
How would you be as a dead guy? I'm just asking.
I've done it before.
Okay.
It's okay.
See, that's not on my resume, so therefore I don't have that experience.
Right,
so I mean, it will
right.
automatically go to.
Well, we'll do
Matthew.
auditions and see how it goes.
We'll work. I'll totally just like.
I'll give you my
the
info
book
after
that.
the show.
Okay, yeah. Don't call us.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we would obviously have to have the other one, like, of you would have to be the murderer.
Not it.
I'm just
I guess
saying,
that's me.
So I just want to be the person that's like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what happened. I'm actually.
Yeah.
This is exactly how the
great.
creative
Yeah, that was
meetings
perfect,
go
right?
for Murder
This
She
is.
Wrote, right?
It's not dissimilar. It does go that way. Yeah.
I mean, next time you're in a meeting, just kind of
throw it out there, just see what people say.
and see what happens. And then get back to
I
us.
think if we're gonna be, we maybe have to be doing like a cooking podcast or something, right? Because it has to be food related, right?
Right.
Or baking
Well,
related.
you know,
So
minor
ultimately.
we might have
details.
to-
Minor details.
Can you cook? Can you bake?
I can.
I can.
Yeah, all right.
Clearly.
Yeah.
You don't get to look like this without baking.
Well, aside from all of that you do at Hallmark, you have also written not one, not two, but 3 books.
Count them. 3.
I've been waiting
Yes.
this whole thing to do this.
Yes.
So
And
I want to hold all these up.
3.
Which can I? Okay.
Do you want the most recent?
No, I like that. They're in
Yeah.
order of like how.
Yeah,
you
I did that on
And the latest
script list,
one
I love it.
that you have is Opportunity Knocks.
this one.
And what I love about this series is that you're taking it from the perspective of people in this industry.
right behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I was
yeah.
gonna say, when you were talking about Murder She Baked, you were like, I like doing the behind the scenes stuff, and I was like, what are these
Clearly.
3 things? I'm
Totally.
seeing a trend.
So I do. I love telling stories behind the scenes of making TV and movies. I think it's so fun, and part of it is just having grown up in the industry. I think pretty familiar with the different jobs that go on, and some of them anyway. And I just think people don't always know and what those jobs entail, or they think they know, and there's a lot more to it than that, right? So the first one I wrote was The Star Attraction, and it's about a publicist. And that's a job, again, that I think just is completely misunderstood by people in general. And it was super fun to kind of just tell the story of a publicist who's out there kicking butt and taking names and, falls in love and, has...
Could these potentially be Hallmark Channel movies? Just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they could. They're maybe a little more edgy than Hallmark
Okay,
is.
Lifetime.
Yeah. They could be Lifetime.
Is that edgier? I don't even know if that's
Yeah, I don't know. They're more net.
But I'm just saying, like, yeah.
Oh, I like how you think.
And so sorry, I cut you off. So one was publicist, then there was...
Right, the second one is about a script supervisor.
Yes.
Scared Scriptless is about a script supervisor, which is another job that I felt like completely, like, A, goes under the radar, and B, people don't understand. And by the way, the other thing I love about my books, or the opportunity to write these books, is that I do sort of poke fun at actors. And a lot of the stories are true about the bad behavior I have personally witnessed or heard about from others.
Well,
about
now we got to figure out
actors.
who's who up
I
in there.
know.
And the third one
recent.
is about a nothing
Makeup
to see here. It's about a makeup artist, and so this one was my most recent one, and I loved it. My makeup artist has done my makeup since I was 16 years old on Days of Our Lives, and she's funny and amazing. And a few that I work with quite the most frequently shared some awesome stories with me about how they broke into Hollywood and how they developed their careers. And so I sort of stole from them, a few awesome stories about working with how difficult people can be to work for, and in particular in that job, it's a really intimate one. And so it was super fun to tackle this. And the main character is a makeup artist, and then she works for a very difficult host of a cooking show, actually. And
I heard it was very Miranda Priestley-esque.
Yeah,
kind
there's more, I don't have a good story that not everybody knows, so I can't make the comparison. It's like waving around in my head. It's just more a horrible, tough boss that is very mercurial and difficult to live with. And
Well, we've all experienced those.
I listened to the part of your...
fill in the blank with the person you think that
Whoever
is,
you know.
and carry on, move on.
I listened to the SoundCloud that you put. It was like a clip from this, and it was when I obviously just heard that, so I didn't hear the whole thing. But the Hillary P, is that right?
Yeah.
Comes in, and it was kind of that moment where they weren't the person you thought that they were.
Right.
They're not that.
They put on a good show for the fans.
Yeah, and now behind the scenes.
Yeah, they behind the scenes reveal their true colors. And so that was really fun. But again, like I kind of talk about like how they make the show and how what it's like to be on a red carpet and how makeup gets done. My mom said she had no idea that makeup was that complicated, or that my makeup artist, you know, we discuss what color my dress is and how do you want to look today, and you know, do I want a nude lip or a dark lip and a nude eye? Like, you know, there's all those conversations.
The things you women have to go through.
I know.
And
tough.
some men.
It's tough.
Are your kids old enough to know who you are?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That was sort of a weird thing I went through when my kids were really young. They started to see my magazine covers, and then. But the funny thing about living in LA is, I think they just assumed everyone was on. You know, like, oh, what TV are you on, like, lady?
Yeah.
Do you remember when they first started like going? You know, I see, like that. They wouldn't watch Days, though.
No.
Right.
No. No.
You're a good mom.
Yeah, that was. It was a close call.
So I guess that's when you could kind of keep that from them.
But no, it was more like, the weird thing is that I didn't really experience that because also with technology the way it is, like, everyone's on TV. Like, everyone has YouTube, or you can take, you know, something that you made at home and put it up on your TV screen. So my kids didn't really have an understanding of like that being different from anything else until they were a little bit older. And now, of course, you know, they know, and we talk about it, and you know, they meet me with fans, or they're with me when fans meet me all the time, and they're really polite and cool about it. And then it was really weird. I had a total strange mom or parenting moment when we got stopped by the paparazzi, and I wanted them to be polite.
Yeah.
Like, someone's trying to take your picture, you should, like, let's stop and smile. And then I totally was like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't understand. I like totally was confused, because I don't want my kids to take that for granted, or in some way be, I don't know, like, smile to have your picture. And I just was like, yeah, we're all posing. And then we like moved on. I was like,
do they have any interest in acting?
I try not to ask that question. It terrifies me that they would, and especially my daughter. She is definitely. My son is great. He's actually would probably be a great actor, but I try not to like encourage it, to be honest. So I really send them towards the school, and they do like after school plays and stuff like that. So I encourage their art and their creativity. I'm just not like thrilled at the idea of being a momager.
Where do you find the time to write and act and produce and mom? How do you find time in the day?
Well, you know, my kids are in school for 8 hours a day, and you know, I think a lot about the books that I write and the development that I'm in with the movies, like while I'm working out, or while I'm driving my car, or when I'm taking a shower. Like sometimes I can't really read when I'm writing, so sometimes at night, like I write a little bit instead of reading. But for the most part, it kind of dovetails in really nicely, and I'm still, you know, able to make sandwiches in the morning and take them off to school, and I feel like a taxi service in the afternoon. I'm like my own Uber, taking the kids to their activities. But it's awesome and fun, and I love it, and it's just always a challenge.
Wonderful.
I was going to ask you, too, kind of going back to the book, if you have to get that, we can make sure you get that. And if you do get it, make sure you write a review about it on the website.
Wait, and also, should we announce that we're doing a contest with you?
Yes, we're going to do a contest for you guys. Not
a contest, like a giveaway.
Yeah.
Well, we're not allowed to call it a contest.
We'll make them make an Alison Sweeney collage or something. But we're going to give these away on our show, because you signed them all.
I did. I signed them all, and it's a collection of all three.
Complete set. And I was going to ask you. Oh, they're standing.
Oh my God, look at that.
I didn't even know I was that talented. I loved this, that you were saying in another interview that a lot of the people now that you work with on set want you to write their next book about what they do, which I think is so cool.
People pitch me.
Kind of like Tony.
Tony, you're not the first person to pitch me ideas, and I get people all the time who are like, you should do it about like this job's so hard, and they like totally give me the whole rundown.
I mean, I was going to pitch a podcast book, but you know, I didn't want to go too far.
I like it though. It's interesting.
Look at that. Well, if you need people to, you know, research your book on.
Okay.
I know some people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will say the one that you mentioned that I thought was really cool was that you were talking about there were some women camera people.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, they were kind of badass. Oops, can I say that?
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
He
I like
just
that
did.
idea.
You know,
But she is. They
Yeah,
are. And
yeah.
it's so cool. And she, like, I don't know, it just was so cool to watch. She, like, first of all, her hair, like, was always fabulous. And then she, like, hooks up the huge camera and, like, just shoots.
I even and I'm just thinking about all this, and I'm really thinking like these would be wonderful, like for probably. I mean, I don't know. Unfortunately I haven't read them cover to cover, but great for high school girls, like to really kind of like if they want to know about different jobs in the industry. I mean, obviously it's not all necessarily
and it
true,
ends happily ever
but
after
it might give you a nice insight if it's something that you're interested in doing.
Yeah, if you're interested in Hollywood, for sure, like pulling back the curtain, seeing how it's made. I mean, it's pretty accurate in that way.
Yeah.
And I definitely believe in like the chick empowerment in my stories. That like the women always sort of are finding themselves or finding their career or pursuing their dreams, and I believe in that. And I mean, that's why I call the third one Opportunity Knocks. You know, like it matters to me that I look back on my career and see opportunities that I've really taken advantage of, and when it might have been easier or safer not to. And I like that, and I think it's definitely made a difference for me. So I encourage that.
When your first one, did that just kind of happen accidentally, or did somebody approach you and say, we want you to do this? Or
no, so my first book happened, it's a really funny story that you will not, Tony, but you might appreciate.
Why not me? Because you're not a woman.
Well, you're about to find out. No, you're about to find out that I was in a scene at Days of Our Lives, and I was really mad at how the scene was being written, and I just disagreed entirely with the storyline, and I was upset about it.
You weren't an actress with open arms.
No, I was not. In that particular moment, I was like, oh, I can't believe this is happening right now. And I sat backstage and waiting for my entrance, and I said to the actor that I was in the scene with, like, wouldn't it be great? Like, what if they had done this? And I pitched him the idea that had just popped into my head, like, what, you know, we come in and we meet that, and then this happens and whatever. And he was like, oh my gosh, that would have been great. Why aren't we doing that? And I was like, I just don't know the answer to that. So I went home and I wrote out the scene the way I thought it should go. And it was totally like my first fanfic. And then from there I was like, well, I can't call them Sami, so I changed the characters around, and then I made up my own whole story. And like I started really it was like a cathartic release of just needing to vent my own creative energies somewhere that I could be in charge of and turn out the way I wanted. And
that's awesome.
And so that was
and
my
now
book.
you're
So now I'm on,
And now you're on book number 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there
Amazing.
a fourth, maybe?
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about it.
It's about the podcasters. I'm
might-
kidding. I'm kidding.
It might have podcasters in it. There's definitely a chance that might happen.
Well, before we wrap things up, because I mean, we will keep you talking forever, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to be held hostage here at AfterBuzz TV.
I don't. Yeah, this has been super fun.
Yeah, we just have a couple of fan questions for you.
Okay, great.
And first, if you could do us a huge, huge favor. There's one of our fans,
yes.
and he's a huge fan. We've been doing recaps of Days for over a year now.
Okay.
And he has probably been with us for that amount of time.
Since the first episode.
Yeah. And every time we have someone here, he always asks us to ask them, what was it like working with Alison Sweeney? Yeah.
Yes,
and he's a
it's true.
huge fan. His name is Daquan. So if you could just say hello to Daquan, he would love it.
Hi, Daquan. Oh my gosh, I hope you got good answers to that question. I'm nervous.
And he
now.
came. I noticed in the chat room he came in like 10 minutes late because we started early,
Yes.
and he was very upset that he missed the first.
I'm sorry, nothing happened. Tony gave like the longest intro in history.
Yeah.
It was like really
prolonging
awkward.
it.
You did. You dragged it out, and then Matthew like fought about their introduction description.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you missed. That's
It was
the only
kinda-
thing that happened.
it was
And I
kinda
had to
like
introduce myself. He forgot my name, and I had to say that's the only thing that happened.
You
Well,
were like,
you
my
would
name
never let
is
it
not
happen,
Sami
Daquan.
Brady. It's
Right.
actually
Totally.
Alison Sweeney.
That's exactly what happened.
It was totally like a day storyline. I was just dragging it out till I
Saying the
could
same
get
thing
to it.
over and over again for weeks
exactly.
at a time. That's so you missed nothing, Daquan. That's so awesome to hear. Thank you so much for being a fan, and I really appreciate it. And now do I have to answer like what was it like working with me?
Yes.
What was it like, Allison, working with Allison?
I'll tell you what. I feel like I must be annoying because I have a lot of energy and I come in always like, not always, mostly I come in with like really big ideas and get, like enthusiasm for it. And then sometimes it's like the opposite and I'm like, oh, this is so frustrating. So I feel like I have a little bit of a, I must be annoying because I'm just determined to always try to like make it better. I have a, that Pollyanna thing going on.
Yeah. And one more question from Daquan, because he has a lot, and
he's
I feel
freaking
like
out right now.
Yeah, he's totally freaking out right
He
now.
says, Allison is talking to me. Oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah. So his question is for you: what was the hardest scene to film?
The hardest, gosh, that's a good question because there were hard for like different reasons. Like chasing after Bernardi, for example, is one of my favorite scenes of recent memory. That was difficult because we had to stage this fight sequence where I had to jump on his back and like try to get the. I don't know. I don't remember. He had a file or something on Will, and I had to get that away from him. And it was just a really fun physical scene, and it was challenging for being physically exhausting. And then of course me not wanting to hurt this actor that I didn't know that well. You know, it's one thing when it's like James or Galen and Brian, they like know me really well, and they know I get really aggressive about physical scenes. And so, so this new guy, like 3 people went up to him and they were like, "Just so you know, she's not kidding. She'll really try to fight you." Like,
just a heads up.
And he was like, "Yeah, cool." And then the stage manager was like, "No, I'm really serious. Like, just be really careful about her. Like, she gets really serious." And he was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah." And then the one more person, he was like, "Oh my god, like how's this gonna go?" In fact, I have a scar. I don't know. This is sort of my little like, this is my behind the scenes story that people might not know. Ready? From way back.
Yes,
I never answered
I
that
remember
question.
it.
So I have a scar on my hand from here to here.
Yeah.
That is a Sami Brady scar. And Sami and EJ were fighting over the evidence that that Rafe's sister, what was her name?
Ariana.
That Ariana had stolen, had hidden that proved that Sami did something bad. Or Will, or someone. Ariana had evidence of some kind, and I needed it, and I didn't want EJ to get it.
Yes.
And so we were in Ariana's bedroom at the Brady pub, which oddly she lived at the Brady pub.
Yeah, a lot of people live at the Brady pub. Yeah.
And so we were fighting in the scene for the thing, and we had this whole scene where we like grabbed the box and we're fighting over it on the bed, and it was a whole rough and tumble thing, and I got this scar in that scene.
Oh wow.
Are the daytime slaps ever real? There was a slap between you and Kate Manzi.
That was real.
That you actually made contact?
She made contact
with you.
Yeah. And there was Christy always liked to kind of make it realistic. She didn't love to do the fake slap. It depended on the circumstances because sometimes you hold back in the real slap, trying not to hurt the other person, and it just doesn't look as impressive. So like the one with Ari and I, the 2 slaps, those were not real because we wanted them to look like I hold off and smacked her, and if I really hit her, like I'm gonna try to be careful. And so that was a stage slap, and then sometimes because of the situation or the angle, it had to be a real slap to otherwise the camera couldn't catch it. Like it would always give away that it was shy. So sometimes they're real, and the guys always try to like, no, just really hit me, and then afterwards they're like, oh god, don't do that again. Like I take it back.
We'll fake it.
Yeah.
Just to wrap things up because we're.
Oh wait, were we gonna answer people's questions? Oh, just Daquan's.
Just Daquan's. That's all we have time for.
Oh,
it's up to you.
I said I can pull up some on my see if I have any on my Twitter here.
Okay.
One more and then we'll wrap it up.
One more. Big finish. Big finish. No pressure.
Make it a good one.
I know.
Yeah. I'm sweating for you.
Am I gonna get mine?
He's wearing a sweater, by the way. That's a lot. Like,
it is.
Just in case people don't know, it gets warm in here. That's another behind the scenes.
Very warm in here.
The lights like are hot.
The lights and all that.
And that was the other hard thing for me getting used to shooting in Vancouver is that I'm giving you time. I'm stalling.
No, it's okay. I have to put on my glasses though.
That shooting on a set like at Days of Our Lives was so cush and nice because it was always just about like 70 degrees, and the actresses and the actors would always fight over like 75 or like because the guys are always wearing jackets, so they wanted a little cooler, and the women are in like little sexy dresses, and we're like, it's hot, it's cold in here. And then I go and shoot in Vancouver, and I was like, where's my warm set stage? Like it was hard to get used to that.
Yeah,
you gotta go. Yeah, I saw this actually in the car, and I was like, oh, that's a good question.
The grand finale question,
this
folks.
is from Veronica Jansen. She wants to know, and I don't know if you are aware of this because I don't know. You said you don't really watch that much anymore. But how do you feel about Rafe and Hope pairing?
Okay, I do know about that a little bit because I'm very good friends with Christian, Alfonso, and Galen, obviously, and so I was aware that they were pairing them up. But I was under the understanding that there's is this a eight?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's back.
yeah,
Okay,
he's
yeah,
back. He is
Aiden.
back. Yeah. He's back.
Allison.
You're mic'd, by the way.
Yeah.
So that really wasn't a whisper.
I'm terrible at this.
That was brilliant. That was my favorite part of the show.
I don't like spoilers. Like, it would break my heart if I didn't.
I'm with you on that. I so
we
hate
don't.
spoilers.
That's one of our things.
But Aiden is back.
Okay,
yes.
so he's like a fly in the ointment of, is that the story? Like Rafe and Hope, and then Aiden's ruining a big ruiner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what do we think about Rafe and Hope? Are
I
they
personally
awesome?
like Rafe, not Rafe and Aiden. That's a different storyline. I personally like Hope and Aiden.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah,
you were
me
a
too.
Hayden, if you will.
I'm a Haydenite.
Hayden.
Yeah.
And what about you?
Haydenite, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
100%.
But
I was
Rafe,
livid.
Like, I mean, I
No.
don't know.
But see, I felt like it was forced. Like with
Yeah.
yours, it wasn't like when you and Rafe. Like it just kind of
It happened naturally.
Like I felt like it was like, okay, we have to give her somebody because we're killing Aiden, and I just don't like those.
No, I don't
Those
like
are
that
always hard
either.
for me to kind of accept.
Yeah.
But I think you are.
I prefer Rafe and Hope.
There's always
I
one in
almost
the
said I
bunch.
prefer Rafe and
Always.
Aiden.
There's
That
always
would be an
one.
interesting
Tony,
story.
ruin. Put that in your head.
Yeah.
But you like Rafe and Hope. I feel like I love Rafe, and so
yeah.
I want him to be happy. Like
Yeah.
I want him to find someone. They're
Well-
both cops together. Like, isn't that awesome?
Yes, but Aiden's bad news.
Aiden's bad news.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
totally worked for Stefano,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They're not making it work with the good girl, bad guy with this particular storyline,
Right.
in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, who hasn't worked for Stefano at this
well,
point?
you know, I mean, yeah. Once EJ and Sammy are making that story work, you gotta up the stakes. You can't
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
Well,
Just bring it
Miss
back
Alison
out.
Sweeney.
Just bringing it back out.
Yes. Well, Allison, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having
and
me.
This has been a blast
Awesome.
having you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
Indeed.
we wish you so much success. I mean, you are doing so many things, and I know that you're going to continue doing great things, and we just look forward to
Great.
seeing all the things that you
Thank
have
you.
coming up.
In particular, this Sunday night.
Yes.
You'll
Yes.
be watching
Tell us one more time.
Murder She Baked, a deadly
A
recipe.
deadly recipe. Yeah.
9 p.m.
8
Central.
Yes.
Yes.
And then, like, if you happen to have satellite TV and you happen to be on the West Coast, it would be on at 6.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
those things happen.
And
You are
we-
welcome back here anytime.
Yeah, when,
you.
when
Thank
number
you.
4 gets knocked out,
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
you're back.
Just let us know.
We'll do it.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in to this very special AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On with the very beautiful Alison Sweeney. Before we head out, you guys let them know where they can find you via social media.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lorraine Love, LORAYNE and I'll be at home reading a book. So if it's a little back when you get it,
Right,
it's because
you're
I
stealing
read it.
from it. I'll get you your own copy. You can also you can listen to me talk. I
Yes.
can tell you
See, I'm
the story.
That's me. I'm more of
Yeah.
the I can't sit still, so I gotta have it on my
You
Yeah.
can find me on Instagram and Twitter. On Twitter, I'm at Allie_Sweeney, and on Instagram, I'm Allie Sweeney. I don't mean to confuse people, sorry, but that's the deal. And then on Snapchat, I'm learning to Snapchat.
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm trying.
I
What
have
is the
to add you.
Snapchat?
I have to add you.
Allie Sweeney?
Allie Sweeney?
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll look for you.
Allie_Sweeney. It is Allie_.
Yes. And I will be at home eating baked goods watching Murder She Baked, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Mr. Oh no, I changed it, I forgot. At Matthew E. Paine.
And of course, you can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony or my website, loungingwithtony.com. Thank you guys for tuning in. And don't forget, every Sunday right here on AfterBuzz TV, we have Dishin Days, where we recap the week's episode of Days of Our Lives, so don't miss it. 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you this Sunday. Bye, you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.